All right, y'all. Welcome back. It's the Capital Report with your boy, Brian Sanders, aka Amu Ra, aka the Scapegoat, with your boy Vladi. Go ahead and reintroduce yourself, my man.
Hey, Vladi, man, I'm the same dude. It's been a couple of weeks since we talked to y'all, but honestly, everything was in limbo. We were kind of hoping that we'd have some kind of final anything, but it seemed it's still in limbo. They're going to court. I don't know what's happening, so we're just gonna go and attack it from each side today, and we're gonna keep coming back to you guys. So hey, what's going on?
Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. So let's get it going first, man. What are your thoughts on the election? And then we'll get into, what do you think about
Oh,
the results? Where are we at? Is Trump doing the right thing? What are you thinking about all this craziness, man?
man, you know what it is? It cracks me up. It cracks me up for a couple of reasons. Like, whether you think he's right or wrong, or whatever you think, I don't really care. But what I
Sure.
want to look at is this: for 4 years, these dudes were yelling that there was voter fraud with the Russians, and now all of a sudden they're like, "There's never been voter fraud." It's like, wait. You guys were for 4 years telling us there is voter fraud there, but it's not here. It kind of like reminds me of the people that are like out there searching for Bigfoot when we have octopuses who are much more impressive because this is a big monkey. This thing changes texture and it's right here. We have it, but they don't want to look at it. So they want to bring up the Russians, but they don't want to look at shit that we have, voting machines that are you can hack into easily, social media that can influence things. We don't want to look at that stuff. We're going to find a new boogeyman doesn't exist for 4 years. That's what they were doing. It's pretty funny, and now, do I think that they stole it or something? I have no idea. You know what I mean? Like, I really
Right.
don't. Like, there's a lot of sketchy stuff going on. But the big thing is what I do know is this. I do know that if you go look at, let's say, Twitter, for instance,
Hmm.
when it's like right now, anything he posts, it says, "Oh, this could be disputed. This might be a lie," right? Even if it's
Right.
not meant to be a lie, like
Right.
the New York Post story on Hunter Biden or whatever. Okay, where were you guys with that when, let's say, George Bush said they had weapons of mass destruction? What were you guys? Were you guys? Did any of you guys show up and say, "Hey, this might be disputed," or did you guys say, "Oh, let's go to war. Let's go to a
That's
stupid
true.
ass war"?
Because they never found them.
What,
They're never
they
found.
never found him. Where were you guys when Obama was saying that Assad was bombing, gassing the Syrians, or when you said you could keep your doctor with Obamacare, or whenever the politicians have lied? Did they ever fact check any of these politicians, or did they just start doing it because it's Trump?
Mm. Well,
I
we
mean,
do know the media is the hardest it's ever been, at least in my lifetime, I've ever seen on a president ever. I mean, I've
ever.
never seen a media this hard driven. And of course, I'm not trying to be one way or the other, but let's just look at the facts here,
Be
folks. I
honest.
mean, like even Fox, they all have literally turned against the man over the last
100%.
6 months to a year. And so you have to just, again, not even trying to take a side, let's just using our, critically thinking skills. Why? What is it
It's very.
about this man?
It's a lot of things. I think the big thing is right now it's they want to get it back to normal. And what is normal? Normal is us going back to war. Now the fact that he just brought in it is. I mean, it's just a fact. I mean, he right now he just fired everybody from the Pentagon. He brought in Douglas McGregor. Douglas McGregor is a retired colonel who's been saying we need to pull troops out of Afghanistan and Iraq for like the last 10 years. He just brought
Sure.
him in, and they're threatening to bring the troops out. So you have a president who has not started the first guy that has not started a new war in 4 decades.
Yeah, that's true.
A guy who's right now is saying he's going to pull these troops out of these pointless ass wars. First of all, why do we got troops in Germany? Like what are you guys doing in Germany? Like we just want to spend money, and we're
Man, we
like,
have
oh,
bases
this is
all over the world, man. It's incredible, dude.
it's incredible. And so you're saying he's going to pull? The establishment doesn't like him. Whenever you're going to tell me that you're going to have all of the mainstream news outlets, all the CIA, FBI officials, and all that, all of Hollywood and all of media, all hate one guy. I'll be like, man, that guy must be doing something right.
Come on. Come on. That's you would
you
have to
know,
think that, man. You would have to think that. Because
like
usually, it's
yeah,
this side's taking the red pill, this side's taking the blue pill. But in this situation, it seems like everybody's like, hey, we're all taking this pill and we're getting this
yeah.
guy out the way. So you have to think of us like without using the C word for conspiracy, but you'd have to wonder what's going on. And I think that's the one thing. Maybe Trump has said it, but it has to be some type of
No, he's
conspiracy
upset a
against.
lot of people. I mean, he's obviously not following by the regular rules as far as like we haven't been
Yes.
to any wars. They're begging him to go to Syria. He didn't want to go. They begged him to go and attack Iran after they hit down our drone. He's like, no, well, a drone is not worth me going bombing a bunch of little kids and shit. I mean, the amount of schools And the amount of weddings that we've bombed under Bush and Obama is like the numbers are insane. How many innocent civilians are dead?
It's really
it's sick.
sick.
It's
They're
disgusting.
murderers.
So
If you really think about it,
there might be somebody down there, so let's blow up this wedding. It's like what? Like you know what I mean? With a bunch of innocent casualties.
Yeah, you're right.
Hey, I guarantee you, if Biden doesn't end up getting walking through, mark my words, within a year and a half, we're gonna have troops in Syria. It's gonna go back to business as usual, bro. Business as usual. But you can't tell me right now that anybody out there truly believes that Joe Biden ended up somehow getting 20 more million people to vote than Obama got to vote for him. Like you're telling me he was, and on top of that, hold up. So you're gonna tell me the incumbent president Trump is gonna he by the way has the highest non-white vote in the modern Republican history. He did as far as Hispanics go and African Americans and Asian Americans go. He had more of the non-white vote. I think the last time it was barely more was in 1960, but in modern times, by far the highest, not even close. So since 1960 was the last time somebody got more non-white votes as a Republican candidate. So not only did he get more non-white votes, he also got 10 more million votes than he did last time, and he somehow loses. Like that to me is really kind of. Wait,
what are you saying? You saying Biden got more non-white vote? Okay, Trump got non-white votes.
Trump got the most. No, for Republican. For Republican. In modern history, in modern political history, nearly 20% of the black vote, nearly 40% of the Hispanic vote. I mean, it's insane numbers that nobody even expect him to get close to, and then he still loses. And now, okay, let's pretend that he did. Let's say he did lose. I want to know who these people were that voted for this dude because I haven't seen any of them. Like I don't know anybody that was
I'm telling you right now, there's a lot of fraud has happened. I've known quite a few, especially senior citizens, or people that have moved. They were like, I received two votes, and I could have used two ballots. And a lot of people, they used both of them and sent them a certain way. I've had people that I heard about got two ballots with different last names on them. Maybe they were married and then they weren't married anymore. That type.
But the big one is the fact we have election day, November 3rd. All of a sudden they stop counting. Just stop counting, right? Everybody goes to sleep. We wake up and there's these boxes of votes that are coming out of nowhere. And there was one in Michigan that was 154,000 to 0. That is mathematically impossible. I don't care if you go to the most liberal part of the country. The most liberal, pick let's say San Francisco. You go to San Francisco and you get 154,000 people in a row to bring in your vote. There's no way to be 0 that will vote for the other side. At least you're gonna find at least 2% or 3%. Maybe it's gonna be 151,000 to 18,000. But there's mathematically 0 chance that you're somehow gonna get 154,000 to 0 in one thing. Like it's just not realistic. And then when you look in that county that it happened in, if you look at the numbers, I was looking the other day and it was like 16 Hillary, it was like 240,000. Obama 269,000, right? And then Biden 380,000. Wait, so where did they find these 100 extra thousand Democratic voters in this county that was never there before? Like they were never there before, and they somehow just magically appeared. Now, let's say this is all conspiracy. Let's say this is all BS, and you really won. Okay, fine. Well, then why not let these people, the poll watchers, watch the damn polls? They wouldn't let them. They would cover the windows. They wouldn't let them within 6 feet to watch the signatures.
Yeah.
And then why not just let them watch? Oh, this is gonna be distracting. It's gonna take us too long to vote. Too long to vote, bro. It's almost goddamn December, and we still don't have all the votes in yet. They're still counting votes. There's still millions of votes that aren't counted.
That's crazy, man.
And it's the 25th.
Yeah.
Like, what are we talking about? And you're going to tell me with all the human error that's possible, with machines, there was actually the machine that was in Georgia that actually swapped, I think it was 2,500 votes from Trump to Biden. That was caught. And now they caught it and they reversed. And they reversed and they made it right. Or 6,000 votes, whatever the hell it was. It was in Georgia. Okay, so if that machine made that mistake, how come other ones couldn't? So I'm not saying that one guy won or the other, but I'm saying, how come we don't review it, just go through the proper protocols and actually see what the hell happened. And then you have states that are taking the outside ballots with the signatures, threw those out. So you can't even compare the signatures anymore.
Right.
So there's all this sketchy shit going on. And at the end of the day, whoever's in office, we're going to have one thing. There's still going to be 74 million people that voted for one guy who are going to be dissatisfied. Maybe some will be satisfied. Maybe someone said, hey, Biden won. But there's going to be probably 80% of those 74 million, 60 million plus people. They're really not going to trust the process from now on. And that is a fact. And you guys telling me we're going up to this election months and months in advance. Y'all couldn't come up with a system to give us the damn results day of. If these votes would have all came in November 3rd and we all of a sudden, boom, done, it would have been way easier. But when we see that you guys stop voting all of a sudden when Trump is up, we all stop it. We just freeze. We can't count right now. We're going to sleep. What? Have you ever heard of working in shifts? This motherfucker finishes counting, he goes
Usually
home.
it's within like that day, maybe that next night, but it's never a week or two, man.
Week or two, bro. It's the 25th. We're still not done. We're still, and these votes are coming out of the woodworks. And I don't care. Like, hey, if Biden won. Good for him. But what I'm saying is nobody's trusting this process at this point. And for the same people who bitched about it for 3 to 4 years, complaining that Russia hacked the election. Well, if Russia can hack the election, you don't think the CIA can? You don't think local officials couldn't? The same people that hate this motherfucker, hate Trump, you don't think these same people could get involved and hack our same in our going to? Of course they could. And now it could have been that just maybe Biden won. Maybe that is the case. But there's just I was looking at another interesting stat I saw. So annually, the average for the last, I think, 30 years in Georgia, 3% of the votes that come in get thrown out because of fraudulent signatures, right? Or because some of the signatures are mentioned. 3%. This year, 0.003% were thrown out. So that means you guys didn't even do the due diligence. So how are you going to tell me that we're going to have more voting that goes through the air, which people aren't even doing it in person, but yeah, you're going to have 1,000 times less ballots thrown out of the signature. Statistically, it's 3% per. And most of the time, you bring and you show your ID and you sign it. This is over the mail. Nobody's looking. And you're somehow going to have less of them thrown out percentage-wise. Per capita, you're going to have less votes thrown out with faulty signatures. That doesn't make any sense either. So there is now, none of this is proof. It just shows there's irregularities
and different little irregular errors,
and that we have not looked at. Then we look at Wisconsin. Wisconsin on averages, I think it's something like a 68 to 72% turnout in most of its counties. There was one county that brought in 98% of people voted. You can tell me 98% of the people that are registered are going to show up and vote. That's never happened in history. And you look, there's so many irregularities. And I'm saying maybe, just maybe, that this all came out right. And if it did, why can't we just have a proper investigation and prove it to the people that don't trust it? Prove it. Like, it's just simple proof. But you don't want to hear it. You don't want to talk about it. And then since when is the media, and why is the media the ones that announce the president?
And that's a good point you bring up. I actually have told a few people this. It hasn't been until the last couple of days, maybe the last 24 hours, till you started hearing states announce an official winner. We really hadn't had that. These last couple of weeks, it's been the media. And legally, that doesn't mean anything.
Nothing. Doesn't mean jack shit.
I was literally saying as of the last 24, maybe 36 hours that technically there is no president. It's still up.
There's a president. The president is Donald Trump until a new one is sworn in.
That's what I mean. Like the next one, the ballot show coming in. There's only been a few states over the last couple of days that have come forward and be like, okay, our state has put, Trump or Biden as winning this state. Because in all technicalities, this thing is still going on. So that kind of brings me to my next question here. Do you think Trump is going about this all correctly? Should he let it be? I know he's dropped a couple of the lawsuits. So a few of them are still going. What are your thoughts?
Should he let it be? My thoughts are this. When you ask his voters, should he concede? They did the poll and like 90-some% said no. He should do what his voters want him to do. That's my goddamn opinion.
I like that.
He's getting voted on by a certain group of people.
That.
Yeah. His job is to do what those people want. It's just same thing like with senators and congressmen. When they get elected by their group of people in their little county, in their district, their job is to answer to those people. Their job is not to answer to people in Manhattan or San Francisco if he's from Wisconsin. His job is to answer to the people in Wisconsin who elected him. Yeah. And if this president has people that elect him and do not trust the process, then they're saying, hey, listen, go and prove to us that this is the right case. Because they're looking at it like this. We saw Biden rallies. They had fucking 2,000 people. Trump rallied 55,000 people, right? And they're looking at it from a bit now. That might all be bullshit. And that might be all, hey, look, Biden supporters voted more through mail, true, et cetera, et cetera. That might be the case. But when you see certain cases of dead people voting, there have been multiple. Now, is that enough people to flip an election? Is there enough dead people that vote? Maybe not. Maybe there's only been a couple thousand. That's the ones we heard of. And I'm okay with that. But I want to see the actual investigation of it and the proof of it. Because no matter what anybody can tell me, this is a very irregular election.
Listen, on that note, Look at Pennsylvania. I'm sure you're hearing about this. What is that? 690,000 votes. They're worried about right now. Trump's getting ready. Yeah, 600,000 votes for Biden, only 3,200 for Trump.
Look, those numbers are unrealistic.
And so Trump's getting ready to go in front of the Senate and speak with them about the massive.
Well, think about this. I don't care if you don't like Trump, right? It's fine. But you cannot show me one community in this country where it has to be that much of an irregularity. You can go to the most liberal town.
You should still want it to be fair. And that's my
what I'm saying is, okay, I'm saying the most, let's think statistically. The most liberal part of the country, let's say San Francisco or Portland or Seattle, you will still have at least a 10 to 15% of people in that area that are going to vote for Trump. Like, it's just the way it works, right? If you go to the most conservative part of the country, you go to somewhere in Alabama, you're still going to have 10 to 15% of people that vote Democrat. You're not going to have a place where it's going to be 700,000 to 3,000. That doesn't exist. That place doesn't exist in this country.
That's wild, man.
It's just bullshit.
And that's why I tell people, I have people been like, just let it go, or it's time to move on. Hey, the people have spoken. I'm like, they haven't. I don't care whether you lost or you win in anything in life. Wouldn't you want it done fairly? Would you want to be cheated and lost? Would you want to be cheated 4-1? I mean,
But those are the same people that are saying just let it go. The fact that we've spent $1 trillion on stupid ass wars over the last 20 years. Just let it go. The fact that we've been losing $1 trillion a year to China in trade deals. Just let that go. Just let all that bullshit go. Just let it go. Well, for what? Like, we've been making bad mistakes as a country for the last 3-4 decades, to the point where China is rebuilding their naval base. They're right on our toes as far as economically. They're stealing all our intellectual property via companies, but it's
they
all
own different parts of the United States. A lot of people don't know that.
Yeah, they basically own half of Google through their shares. The shareholders, they own property, they own everything, and that's been happening through bad policy. Okay, so that's why we care as voters. Like, we don't want that shit happening again. We don't want to go to no more pointless wars. So no, we're just not going to let it happen. And if you're going to go and tell me, this vote, we've seen other countries get ripped off. I don't want to be living in some country that like fucking, it's like Libya, where you have dictators just picking elections. I want to know that the process is fair. And when you're going to tell me there's a place in this country where it's a 700,000 to 3,000 difference in opinion, I do not believe that exists.
And I wouldn't even want to live somewhere like that, to be honest with you. I need to see
we live in an equal chamber.
50-50 or at least a 70-30.
Like I said, the worst parts in this country, statistically speaking, are 85-15. That is like the worst, like the most conservative in Alabama or the most liberal in San Francisco neighborhoods. But there's nothing that is 99.9 to 0.1. Like, that doesn't exist.
That's true. That's what that Pennsylvania.
And that's what those numbers are.
That's what those numbers are. Yep.
And it just doesn't and now that is not evidence, because you can say, well, what if it is? Okay, but there are irregularities that we have to address. That is one. And number two is when you have counties who have never voted, over 70% of their district population has never voted. Like, it's always 68% to 72. That's the number. Now you have 99.8 of them voting. You're telling me everybody went out and voted. The people didn't give a shit. The people that were busy. The people on vacation. The people that moved out of that county. Because you have certain Pennsylvania and a couple states had 1.8 million votes more than the people living currently in those districts. So let's say if I'm living,
that sounds like double dipping to me.
Well, also it could be this. It could be, let's say I lived in Pennsylvania and I moved to DC, but I still have my address down there. I haven't re-registered with the new address. And I get that ballot into a different state.
That's what I'm saying. I know people like that. They got 2 votes that way. I know people that got two ballots because their last name changed. There's millions of folks like that. Oh, absolutely.
So all I'm saying is, and then when you're the people that do not allow the Trump dudes or whoever, the conservative side, to go and monitor these votes, there's videos of you blocking the goddamn windows, and you not let them stay. They're like, tell them you guys can stay behind this line like 100 feet away. You think I'm going to be able to look at the signature from 100 feet away? What am I, a fucking eagle? Like, my vision ain't that, bro. Like, I can't see shit. I got to be right here and look at it. And I understand you can say, oh, it's distracting. Well, you guys are, it's fucking November 25th when we're recording this. And we still aren't done voting, counting votes. And it's like the entire process creates conspiracies, creates distrust. And how about this? This is the other one I want to ask you. How are you going to tell me that there's other places? So there's certain counties that I looked at where they had 48,000 more votes for the president than they did for the Congress and senators. So you're telling me people took out their ballot, picked Biden, but ignored the rest of the ballot.
That's what I'm saying.
Just left it blank.
Yeah.
So they left the congressman blank. They're like, okay, and then there's people like this you're going to tell me that voted for Biden and then went Republican across the board because Republicans took the House, Republicans kept the Senate, but they somehow lose the presidency. They flipped 12 seats, I think, in the House right now. I think it's at 12 seats now, where Nancy Pelosi is literally losing her leadership because some Republicans are winning across the board, but somehow they lose the presidency. They're winning across the board and everything else. I don't know one single person. There are a couple really centrists who might say, hey, I'm tired of Trump. I don't like Trump. I'm going to vote Republican here, but there's very few, though. Most people that if you're going to vote for the Democrat, you're going to vote for
those are your older folks. I realize a lot of senior citizen Republicans, they don't like Trump. And a lot of them probably did what you're talking about right now.
Yeah, there's a lot of them for sure, but not in these numbers.
Not in those numbers. Absolutely not.
You're talking about millions and millions and millions of people did this, according to things. But the one that threw me off the most is what I said earlier. The fact that there's people, according to the data, that took open the ballot, picked Biden, and ignored the rest of it. They didn't fill in the governor. They didn't fill in the lieutenant governor. They didn't fill in the senator in their district. They only picked one box, that was Biden, closed it back up, licked it, and threw it in the mail. You're telling me there's hundreds of thousands of people that would do that? I don't know anybody that wouldn't at least mark a couple of those other ones, right? They're going to pick Biden. They're going to pick, your senators.
They're going to pick somebody.
Picked one box, but they only picked one box. So there's hundreds of thousands of votes that you can see irregulars where this district will have X amount of votes for the Senate or Congress seats and this much for the presidency. So that means there's this many people who decided that they're only going to pick one box. Okay, maybe those people exist. Again, that's not proof, but that's an irregularity. And when you have this many irregularities and you have all the media, all of Hollywood, all of sports media, all of the intelligence agencies, the CIA, FBI, all hate this motherfucker. You're gonna leave me asking some questions, bro. You know what I mean? Like, now I'm not the dude that's out there yelling like, "Oh, f this, f that." No, I just want it to be honest, and there's gonna be no trust. There's gonna be no trust in the system. And if you're now, and I remember I sent you the message. I think it was a couple of weeks ago. Dominion voting machines. Remember I sent you the definition of it.
Yes, yeah.
And the definition of Dominion, the voting machine. By the way, who's funded by the Clinton Initiative through the Clinton Foundation, which is not a conspiracy theory. You can look it up.
No, Trump's it's a lot of the states that did it. It's done by a Democratic company that runs those. It's Democrat people that runs those companies. Yeah. Yeah,
Dominion was actually part of the Clinton Initiative too, from the global. But this is the definition of Dominion: ruling or controlling power, sovereignty. And this is the sentence definition that came up with the example. The whole country was my own property, so that I had an undoubted right of dominion. Whoa. I mean, just the name of it is scary. Look, maybe this is just all a coincidence, but this is what you guys named this voting machine. And how come the only time it ever has caught mistakes? Because what side are you on? You can Google this, you can search it. In Georgia, there's been a couple times it messed up, but how come every time it messes up, it only messes up to benefit one side? It never messed up to benefit this side. It's never had a glitch. They keep calling it, it had a little glitch where some of the Trump votes went this way to Biden. How come it never had a glitch that went the other way? How come all the glitches happen to help one side?
Right.
When all the glitches happen to help one side, I started looking sketchy. Now again,
you start looking a little suspect.
Yeah. Now again, this doesn't make it a fact that somehow this is a corrupt thing or that this isn't just coincidence. Maybe it is just coincidence. But man, if it is just coincidence, then once again, why didn't you guys let poll watchers watch these people making these votes in Pennsylvania? Why didn't you allow them in the room? Number one. Number two, why are you so afraid to go to court and review these affidavits that people actually under oath said, yeah, we saw people backdating packages. A lot of people have signed affidavits. By the way, when I sign an affidavit to give it to court, I'm under the law of perjury. If I'm lying, I could go to jail. So why would I lie if I'm a worker there just to lie, there's hundreds of these affidavits signed. They're saying, hey, look, we had mail-in come in on the 4th, and we were told to backdate it to the 3rd before we've scanned it. Like there's plenty of this evidence. Now, is that enough votes? Who knows? But irregularities are there, and you're still going to have 50 to 65 million people, probably more, because probably a lot of people that didn't vote, who meant to vote but just didn't even hurry up, who are mad as well. This is the voting numbers. But every single year, there's a lot of people that didn't vote that wish they did, or just busy, or just forgot to do it, or just lazy. So you're gonna have a good portion of this country, goddamn near half, majority of the center of the country. Like, yeah, your elite coastal cities, the rich people who always vote Democrat, the New Yorks, San Francisco, Seattle's, Portland's, Austin, Miami, like those cities, the coastal rich towns, they're okay. They're happy because their guy won. But the majority of the center of the country is either very 50-50 or is on the leans a little bit to the right or libertarian. Most of those people aren't very happy. And you can have for the next
Oh no, a
4
lot of
years.
those people aren't that happy. So that's the thing that I've been wondering. I mean, what do you think? Should Trump run again? Let's say this is all over.
Yeah, I
Biden
think
gets it 4
no,
years
dude.
from now.
Yeah, I think he will. I think he absolutely will. Or if it look, the thing is with this, Trump was not really a Republican.
Right.
Like, there's nothing Republican about him. He didn't go to war. Republicans love war. That's the reason I hate Republicans, is their freaking war mongering side. But that's what Democrats are turning into, the neoliberal side with
absolutely.
the Clintons and the Bidens and the Kamala Harrises. They're just war hawks. They want to go to war.
And they may not even be a full blown, we're all going to war as a country, but they have their many missions where we bring up man, I just lost it. Not Iran. Dude, they took that country apart. Obama.
Apart. But the thing is also, it's because they're so devoted, the neolibs and neocons, they're so devout. They're devouts to these big corporations like Chevron, Shell, Big Pharma. You know, they need those resources, and the best way to get those resources is through warfare, and you taking over, other people's property, other people's land in Iraq, Iran. That's why we never go to war with North Korea. As shitty as they are, we're not going to go to war. They have no resources. That is just this. We only go to war with countries that have something to give us: oil, gas, opium, whatever the hell they're, lithium. Nowadays, that's where all these proxy wars are going on in Africa because of the new, the batteries that Tesla needs and whatnot. So now lithium's another resource. So that's what we're just going to go back into that thing. And they did not like Trump because he was not a Republican. So, hey, what I was going with this. There may be a Republican. Trump is like his own party at this point. There's like Republicans, there's like the Democrats, then there's like the Bernie Bros, which are like more socialist, democratic socialists. They're a separate party. And then there's like the Trump party, which is like, anti-war, pro-America type of party, which I'm all for. I mean, I like that side of it. So people to think that almost Trumpism is going away. Trump's type of policies are here to stay, and they're probably going to continue.
That's what I was going to say. So let's say 4 years from now, you don't think the train would have moved on by then?
Oh, hell no. I believe that message is still going to resonate with a lot of people who are going to think they got cheated. Other people who are going to be dissatisfied with what's going to happen in the next 4 years if Biden ends up being sworn in on January 20th. And that's where we're going to head. And the division is not going to go anywhere. The media's love fest over Biden is hilarious. They never ask him any tough questions. They never did it. It's almost like they interviewed them like, "Hey man, how's your kids doing? What you have for dinner last night? Hey, is Hunter still smoking that crack? How's everything going?"
Here's something I can tell you right now. Something that's a big deal. That personally, I'm disappointed in the Republicans, Democrats, everybody. Is these COVID and these stimulus checks, man. We have all these Americans out here going through it, losing their jobs left and right. They're doing more crackdowns as far as quarantining and shutting different parts of the country down. Every time I look at it, it's Pelosi or it's
McConnell.
They're all going at it. Everybody's trying to throw their dicks around and trying to see who holds more weight. And I mean, this is the disappointment. And even Trump, he had said some words about that. Hey, he's backing off on it. It's not his thing right now. It's tough. Where do you go from here? Where do you see everything playing out? Going back on vacation again. I'm so tired of Senate and the senators and
my thing is, look, Trump made a couple of mistakes early on in this whole thing, and the mistakes he made is when he declared a national state of emergency, and when he did the Defense Authorization Production Act, which he did it because everybody was pressuring him to do it, saying COVID is a terrible thing. So Trump fell for the trap. He did that, and now what does it do? Cuomo, Newsom, all these governors. I forgot my own governor. That's how much I hate him. Inslee here in Washington.
Trump hates your governor. Trump hates your governor.
Yeah, he should. And so we had all these Democratic governors come in and shut everything down. And every time Trump said open it up, they're like, "Well, you're the one that first announced a national state of emergency, declared it." So he fell for that trap. But looking at it now, you saw Gavin Newsom, the dude from California, shut everything down, goes on a party with no mask inside of a house with the head of the medical association or whatever in California, some other dude that's part of the health department in California. They're all having a party, and some dude, thank God, snuck in their yard and took pictures through this mansion glass doors of them just kicking it, having wine, while he's shutting the rest of the government, telling you can't go to Thanksgiving, but I'm going to go to my homie's party and have wine with everybody. With the dudes that are ahead of the medical association. Like the hypocrisy of that shit is insane. Like, where were you guys masked at? Where were you? Why aren't you guys social distancing?
Yeah,
why can't I go see? Why can't I go see grandma for Thanksgiving, but you motherfuckers can go do this? And when it comes down to the stimulus checks, we have to come down to the realist this. We either have to, if we're not going to open up, people need stimulus checks, yes. But my fear with the stimulus checks is this. We're going to get people used to stimulus checks, and we're going to put our country into a position where we're never going to open up, and we're going to have the people living off the government. And they're just going to purposely do this, use the COVID as a way to say, we're going to shut everything down. We're going to have the big corporations take over all the small businesses. You're going to have no more small businesses.
And that's on the front end. And that's what I was going to say. Because on the front end, you're right. Because as far as people said, I'm not going to work, I'm just going to rely on stimulus. The only way that would even happen is if the country continues to stay shut down and quarantining and everything else that's happening. On the opposite side, what my fear is what you're saying, all these big companies, because you're noticing they're all going away. It's only going to be, I read somewhere there's only going to be a few main grocery stores in the country. There's going to be a gas station. Everything's going to be mainstream.
Yep. The fucked up thing is, like, there's this corner store I always go to, not far from my house. It's been last lockdown, in the heat of it, it was shut down, right? So you're telling me I can't go get some beer or some chicken nugget or some beef jerky at this store, but I can go to Walmart and get it. So I can't buy from this guy, but I can go to Walmart and get it. So you're just giving the big corporations the green light to just destroy every small business, buy them out, buy up their property, take it over. You have Amazon's stock skyrockets, Walmart skyrockets, all these big corporations skyrocket, but all small businesses are going under.
That's what's happening.
Because you shut down the government. Because the only people that get affected by shutdown are small businesses. That is it. The big corporations will never be affected by it. They can go online.
Farmers, they're going to farming. Farmers are getting shut down. Everybody and everything is getting shut down. They want everything tunneled.
They want a master. Yep, they want an economic reset. They hate what Trump did, and they want an economic reset. So now we're going to be dependent on big corporations and global companies. It's globalism.
That's what
our farmers are now going to be not in Alabama. Our farmers are going to be in Vietnam. Our farmers are going to be in China. We're going to get a global initiative where we're going to buy from them for cheap. And we're going to have the big corporations manage everything. And there's going to be nothing here in America made. And that's what they want. I mean, that's what big corporation want. And that's what Trump was kind of fighting against.
That's what he's fighting against. And it's funny, I follow a Clear Value Tax podcast and I follow their YouTube. And they were like, man, soon Olive Garden will be the top of top dining here in America. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's kind of where we're going with everything. Everything's being tunneled down to where you only have these certain choices. It's not going to be that broad range anymore.
You can't afford, because they make it so they're going to raise taxes where now you can't even come back because you just failed because your company just went bankrupt, so you can't even get credit for it.
You can't get back.
And then my other thing about the stimulus checks is this. So the $2.2 trillion that we brought out last time, I think it was only 8% of the money went to the people. 92% went to the corporations. So we didn't even give people that money then because the $1,200 we should have all gotten the people that deserve to get it should have got closer to 20 grand. I would rather you take that $2.2 trillion and give people interest-free business loans. The way you give these big banks like Bank of America interest-free money from the Federal Reserve, you print the money. Here's $20 trillion, go give loans. How come you can't give us the money? Hey, here's 20 grand, here's 40 grand, start a business with it. It's interest-free, but you still owe it to us. But it's interest-free. So here's 40 grand, do what you want with it, start a business with it, but you got to pay it back in your lifetime or 20, 30 years, but it's interest-free. So you're going to pay us back the exact same what we gave you. I'd rather have that than a $1,200 stimulus check. Give me the money interest-free, give me a 20, 30 years to pay it back, and let me start a business with it. And that'd be a way better benefit for our country because then you'd have guys who say, hey, I want to build a nice recording studio for myself, or I want to build a coffee stand, or I want to go, start a little corner store. And I don't have to pay crazy interest on this money. I'm getting this money up front, just like the way that the Federal Reserve prints money and gives it to the big banks at 0% interest. Why not do the same thing but give a direct line to the people where everybody gets $20,000 to $50,000 interest free? They have to pay back, so you are going to give this money back, but it's interest free. So you have and no inflation is going to affect you. You get this money, and I'm going to get you back within 20 years. There's 20, 50 grand. Now everybody has a little bit of money to start. Some people are going to blow it for sure.
Right.
But now they owe it. They owe it. It's a loan, but it's an interest-free loan. I would rather have that than just a $1,200 stimulus check, which, it's going to vanish. That's barely covering rent for most people. I mean, what the fuck is $1,200, dude, for a half a year? They give it to a half a year, go to people. That doesn't create a ripple in the ocean. Like,
it's such a tough deal, dude, because it's like we're almost to that point where it's almost the point of no return, to where I don't see how they can fix the economy. They could end COVID tomorrow, say everything's back to open 100%. That doesn't mean all those businesses are coming back. All those jobs aren't coming back. You know what I'm saying?
I would like an interest-free, direct to the people, interest-free, where you go online, you fill out your thing, $20,000 to $50,000, depending on the business you choose, and you get an interest-free loan. You have to pay it back. If you don't pay it back and you blow through the money, you go buy yourself a watch and a chain. Well, guess what? You still owe the money. You owe the money to the government. It's just going to be taken out of your taxes for the next 20 years. But it's interest-free is the big thing. And now I have a chance to flip this money, make more of it, create a business, get it going, and then that's fine. I'll pay $50 a month for the next 20 years to pay you back this 20, 50 grand, whatever. Make it a very low payment that's stretched out, that goes on your family name. That's fine. Make it whatever. Make it $50 to $100 a month. I have to pay you guys for the next 30 years that you take out of my taxes. But it's tax-free, and I get 20 to 50 grand up front, and now I can make some real movement. You give me $2 grand, you give me $3 grand, you give me $5 grand. That money's not going to do anything for me. It's going to fill up my car, buy some groceries, and that's it. It's done. But give me a nice chunk so I could get a little jolt and fast forward in my life. Those people don't have shit. Give me just enough, just so I could go buy maybe a dump truck and or buy a semi truck and start doing get my CDL license and start making money that way. Give me a little money so I could maybe start a little coffee shop. Give me something that actually gives me a chance to have some kind of advancement, not give me a couple $1,000, which are going to vanish on groceries and gas money. And you're not really going to, I'm going to be at the same place I was 3 months ago with your fucking stupid ass stimulus check tomorrow. There's going to be no difference for most Americans.
And that's where they're coming down to, we're going to have multiple stimulus checks. We might have all of 2020.
But all of them are they're giving it to us in these stupid ass stages to where they give it to us again after we blow the money. Give me enough to do something with it. To do something that's going to benefit me. Don't give me enough to go buy food, groceries, and fill up my car. Give me enough so I could create something, and maybe it's a risk, but let me make that choice. You guys give this free money in 2008. You guys gave trillions of dollars to big banks. Why can't you all give us trillions of dollars directly to us through the same means? Right? Because the banks failed. Well, guess what? We're failing as small businesses across the country, right? So we need the same bailout that you guys gave the banks. Is what I'm saying. It's not that very difficult. But they of course they won't do that, because you have half of Washington is owned by Wall Street, and that's just what it is. And it's just going to be the same thing where they're going to give another stimulus check, chump change to everybody else. Big corporations going to take most of it, and everybody's going to go home. Hey, kumbaya, we're back to normal. Right?
For now, until the next, 90
until
days.
the next one.
Because it's like not only that, they're having to do they're continuing the unemployment. Now they're going to extend it to, workers that are having to, actually, what do they call them, exceptional workers or whatever they call them.
Yeah.
I'm talking
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, they're including everybody. So obviously there's going to be more money given out, which people need, don't get me wrong, but it's like, how long is this thing supposed to be for? How long is this supposed to last?
Dude, that's the issue. That's why I have an issue with the stimulus checks. I want there to be a real. I don't want a stimulus. I want a bailout. I want the American people to have the same bailout that the big banks got in 2008. I don't want a stimulus. I want to bail out. You're gonna bail us out. You're gonna bail out all those small businesses that failed. You're gonna bail out every single American that can't pay his mortgage. You're gonna bail them out. You're not gonna give them a stimulus check. You're gonna bail them the fuck out, saying you guys lost 50 grand this last 6 months. Here's 50 grand. Bail us out. Like you gave the fucking big banks trillions of dollars.
Car business 10 years ago. Yep.
Yeah, bail. I don't want a stimulus. I want a bailout. A straight on, full on bailout for the American people. Period. Just bail us out. And you know what? Foot the bill to China. That's what I would do. 10 trillion. Hey, China, by the way, you guys owe us 10 trillion because you guys started this stupid ass virus.
We owe China so much money.
You know what I would do? I would delete that whole debt tomorrow. I'd be like, I'm wiping my ass with that shit I owe you. I would that's it.
That's like, oh, you American, so funny.
It's so funny. So funny. No, but I would wipe my ass with that thing, throw it in the trash, and be like, look, Y'all started this goddamn virus. I don't know you shit. You know, that's what I would do. You got to be aggressive with these people. I don't want to. That's it.
Oh shit.
I'd be like, hey, President Chief, I don't owe you shit, dog. We good. You see the shit you created? We good. And if every country in the world stood up to China, nobody like everybody's afraid to stand up.
China owns the world. I don't.
I know.
I think people think it's conspiracy theory. Like they own parts of every part of
everything.
The
world. They run
from
half of
Panama,
Africa.
From Panama Canal to America to Africa.
All the mining fields in Africa are by China. Everything.
So I mean, they're literally the new empire. If you want to be honest, we're living off of what we were 30 years ago, bro. We're a third world country. If you want to be honest, we are a third world country.
Look, life is great here. Whatever, for the most part. I still feel like we're number one-ish in the average American, like the average person, because China still has like internment camps. You're talking about the Uyghur people that are millions of them are in slave camps right now getting murdered and tortured. We don't have it to that. We have the prison.
We have prisons. Yeah, we have prisons. Yeah.
Which are horrible. Which are horrible. I'm with you. But the average middle class to lower middle class person lives better than the average middle to lower class in other countries. But that is slowly going away, and China's slowly going up. And if we don't open our eyes and do something, Trump tried to do it. But 4 years just isn't enough. You're talking about battle.
4 years is not enough, man. That 4 years is not enough.
So now you're gonna have Biden and them come back in and just erase that 4 years of progress we made against China.
All they do is reverse everything. That's all.
They're gonna reverse everything.
That's all they do. I mean, even Trump, whether you agreed with it or not agreed with it, first thing he did, first 4 years was pretty much reverse everything Obama did.
Yeah, that is the issue when you like I said, I told you this before. I remember we were talking. The issue is when you're battling against empires that never have elections, they have an advantage in the sense that President Xi can think in 20-year terms. We have to think in 4-year terms because we have to wager the next election. You know what I mean? And that creates an issue. And we're losing so far. Like we're losing this. It's almost like we've been down a touchdown each quarter. Trump comes in, we start making a comeback. And now you're going to put in these new guys who are just going to put us back in the hole. We're going to throw three more interceptions.
And that's three more interceptions. And the reason why I always talk about the third world country type comparisons is we're getting to the point we don't have a middle class, man. I don't know if you know, they said like another 200 or 300,000 people. 300,000 people fell below the poverty line in America last week, bro. I mean, the middle class is evaporating. We're becoming a country to where you're either rich and wealthy or you're poor. I mean, and of course, depending on what part of the country you live on, the definition of poor in Texas, it's a lot better than being poor in, let's say, Washington or California. You know what I'm saying? It's two different worlds. However, it's only those two spectrums. That's pretty much where we're at now.
Yeah, well, no, 100%. And why is that? Because we're turning into this globalized economy where we're going to have big corporations, multinational corporations control everything. You're going to have your cheap labor in China and Vietnam. You're going to have your salespeople here in America, pretty much, big corporations. But there's nothing made here anymore because we have cheap labor there. So the people that used to manufacture here, people used to be at GM making $60,000 a year in Detroit. Those jobs are gone now. Those jobs are overseas now. And you have automation. There's a lot of issues. And going back on it, if we return this, it's going to get worse. I loved what Trump was doing with our economy as far as like putting China in check. But you got to understand that people are like, well, he didn't get much done. Well, it's only 4 years. After 30 years of being damaged, he was moving in the right direction.
Yeah, we're already bringing businesses back. We're bringing a ton of big businesses over here.
Yeah, and now they're gonna run away again. They're gonna just run away again because now you're gonna reverse those tax loopholes that was given small businesses and small companies. The reason to stay here, a bunch of them moved back here. They're just going to leave again. Because if you're going to tell me, hey, I'm right now getting taxed. Let's say I'm a big company and I'm getting taxed 40% under Trump. You're going to come in and be like, I'm going to tax you 60. You know what I'm going to do? Bye-bye. I'm going to move my headquarters to this country where they're going to tax me 30. And then I'm just leaving and I'm not giving you any tax revenue. Because even though we lowered taxes, we paid more in federal tax than we did under the previous tax code by a couple $100 billion. So, yeah, I don't know what's going to happen. We're going to see more in this next couple weeks.
It's a business.
But I got to tell you this. If Trump wants to somehow reverse this, he needs something serious to happen in the next 2-3 weeks. Because if it doesn't, he's not going to have time to get it to the Supreme Court. And something needs to go now. Whatever evidence they have, they need to just put that shit on the table. They need to release it. And if I'm Trump, you know what I'm doing right now? If I see I'm losing, I'm declassifying every document that these motherfuckers went against me. I'm going out in a blaze of glory.
And that's what makes you think. I was talking to my buddy, he's a libertarian.
Yeah.
And even he started to think, I was like, it almost makes you kind of think everyone is just kind of playing their roles. Because if you really think about it, Trump could pull out the big guns. I mean, people are asking, why aren't you bringing this up? Hey, you could bring this up. It would destroy Biden. You could do this, you could do that. And, not getting too deep into it or too crazy thinking, but it is like, oh, maybe everyone's just kind of playing their role. Maybe this is what he's supposed to do up until this point.
I think I think he is a disruptor. And like, I like he brought in Douglas McGregor and the new guys to Pentagon. They're saying they're going to bring back all the troops back. So, if this is if this is it for Trump, if there's another month left, I want to see him do a couple of things. I want to see him declassify everything that's not going to put people in harm's way. Like, if there's documents that people's names are still undercover agents somewhere, because obviously you want to redact that. But everything that's not going to put people's names out there that are, like, let's say in the field, in the CIA or whatever. But I want to see everything declassified. I want to see you pull out all the troops back from Afghanistan, Iraq, because the lady went on MSNBC the other day. She said, "What Trump's doing, moving the troops back, is bad. We want to see troops back, but we don't want to see them come home in body bags." Whoa! So us bringing them back on our own airplanes and bring them back in body bags? What the fuck are you talking about? She's like, "We need to do this timely. Timely. We've been there for 19 years. How much more time do we need?"
That's crazy. 2001.
Yeah, it's been 19 goddamn years. So at some point, it's like, dude, I wanted to see him bring back the troops and declassify a lot of this information and walk out of here. Look, at the end of the day, what he's accomplished, he didn't start a new war. First guy in 4 decades not to do so. Mm-hmm. He got a lot of judges in there. That's his legacy. The judges, huge legacy. And he exposed the media for what they are. It's just a corporate propaganda machine. And I'm talking about Fox News. I'm talking about CNN. Whatever side of the corporate you like, they're just a corporate propaganda machine. It's not journalism anymore. You can't tell me it's journalism when you ignore stories. You're gonna come up with these bullshit ass stories like the Russia Gate thing that we heard for 3 years, ended up being zero evidence of it. There was evidence that a few Russian companies went online on Facebook and had accounts and they said, vote this way. You believe that's going to affect people more than CNN? CNN reaches way more people than a couple Russian Facebook accounts. MSNBC, Fox News reach way more people. He exposed the media for what they are, as a bunch of corporate propagandists who just get their money. And, he exposed the military-industrial complex for what they are. And he ensured the prison system with passing prison reform.
Yep.
So, and the biggest one is the judges that he got signed on. His legacy is going to be his legacy. Like, people are going to hate him. People are going to love him. At the end of the day, this is a sad way that this election went. Because as of November 25th, we still don't have all the goddamn votes in. And for you to tell me that a country of this power cannot get a fucking vote. And tell me this, how come Florida, 11 million people, Texas had how many millions of people? They get their votes in and they certify their shit within 2 days. But Georgia and fucking Georgia, Michigan, all these states, way less people. Florida had 11 million votes. I think Georgia had 4 million. Florida got it done in 2 days. Georgia's still working on their shit. I mean, there's something wrong in that sense. And how come the only states that certified their votes quick are the ones that Trump won? A lot of states.
Definitely something we got to think about, man. Definitely something we got to think about. One thing we'll probably touch on next time, I don't think a lot of people realize is the difference between the United States and the United States of America. You have the corporation, and then you have the company, and you have the land. A lot of people don't realize on your birth certificate, it literally makes you an employee of the United States. You know what I'm saying? So that's probably something we got to touch on, getting people kind of understand exactly how this government works. Because the more you really dive into it, the more you kind of really see that it's really just all business. And it's been this way for since 1905, 1910, right when around that time they started changing the dollar, and right around that time we started going from being backed by gold to, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a whole.
We devalued the currency. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a whole different reality now. That I think if more people understood how by law.
Yeah, Like we're not living in, we're not in a democracy. We're more of an oligarchy. Oligarchy means a certain few control the outcome, and that's where we're at. I mean,
and that's just where, and it used to be like, oh, you believe in conspiracy and you believe in Illuminati.
It's a fact.
No, it's a fact, dude. I mean, it's if you just look at it, it's being ran by.
Somebody tell me, did I have a say for us to go to Libya under Obama? No, I didn't have a say. So how the hell is that a democracy? In a democracy, I'd be like, yes, Libya or no Libya. Nobody asked me. I didn't get a call from Obama. I didn't get a call from Hillary Clinton. They went to Libya. They killed innocent people, and now you have legal slave trade going on in Libya, which was once the highest GDP per capita in all of Africa. Now they're the poorest because Hillary and Obama decided to go take out Gaddafi for who the fuck knows why. Because they needed some. Hey, the war machine needs money.
They were
war machine needs money.
He turned back when Gaddafi said, no, let's exile the United States. Let's back up our money, buy our oil. Yeah. That's when we went in and took his ass out. Yeah. Because the Africa and all the Northeast African, Middle East countries, they're getting ready to exile the United States. And if they would have did that.
Oh, they weren't going to let them do that.
They couldn't.
And it wasn't even us. It's Shell, Chevron, it's these multinational companies that have lobbyists getting tens of millions of dollars a year in salaries.
Well, look at who was in there with Bush.
Senators and congressmen every day.
Yeah,
Bush and Obama were the same two people. They're the same two people.
Yeah,
it's the same part of the same war machine. Exactly. Republicans, Democrats. This is the reason everybody hates Trump. Is because he's not a part of that group. He doesn't give a fuck about any of that. He comes in. He said no to Syria when people were begging him to attack Syria, and he said no to going into Iran. And I mark my words, Biden's in office. Mark my words. By 2022, there's going to be a serious conflict in both Syria and I don't know about Iran. Iran's kind of big. It's kind of scary to go into. But Syria, 150,000%. We're going to be in Syria by 2022. I would bet if they had right now a betting odds, whatever money, I'd put my house on it because that's
we know who Biden is. We know who Biden is.
Because the gas pipeline that they're beefing with Russia over right now. That we're going to be in there to try and take over that gas pipeline, taking Assad out and putting our own guy in there to make the contracts go through us to feed Europe. I mean, that is just a fact, man.
So
man. I mean, go ahead.
I was gonna say, do you think Trump goes away after that? Say, he might.
Hell no, you're not going nowhere.
So what do you think? He becomes a political figure? Okay, because Twitter already said they're gonna delete his account. Twitter already said took him off Facebook. Off Twitter.
Oh, hey, they do that. They only make him more powerful because it just proves the point that all of the corporations were against him. And I love that the same people who pretend that they're anti-corporation, that they're super liberal, are the ones who are like bowing down to their tech overlords and saying, yes, end freedom of speech. Shut his Twitter down. Shut this person down. Tell Ben Shapiro to stop talking. Like Glenn Greenwald, who broke this Edward Snowden story a few years back. Now they're attacking him because he's like, yo, this is crazy. We should stop trying to censor people. That's what Nazi Germany does. We're supposed to be about free speech. It's our fucking First Amendment. And if you're going to shut down Trump, like, are we not grown people? If you don't like what Trump says, just block him. Why you got to censor him, though? And how come you censor Trump on Twitter, but you don't censor the Ayatollah of Iran? You don't censor North Korea's accounts. ISIS has fucking social media. ISIS has social media accounts you don't censor. So I don't want to hear this, oh, he's a bad guy. The Ayatollah of Iran has a fucking Twitter account. He's never once been censored. So I don't want to hear any of this shit about he's a bad guy. You get the fucking Ayatollah who literally.
What's he be talking about on Twitter?
Death to the Jews. Death to the Jews.
Oh, okay.
And you guys aren't going to censor this motherfucker. Stop it.
That's crazy. These dudes are.
That is insane. It doesn't even make any fucking sense. It's just we're not living in reality at this point.
Right.
There's two teams. There's the super left, and then there's just whatever. And the left happens to control all of the media, all the tech executives. I mean, Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates. All of these people.
And it's true because you can't even say anything anymore on media without it being misconstrued. Like, I don't know if you saw that the Cowboys, they brought in all the watermelons and smashed them up, and Shannon Sharp was talking about how racist and offensive it was. I'm like, bro, no one took it like that. No one. I was reading all the comments.
Searching for outrage.
You're reaching, bro. Like even the commentator, because when she brought it up, talking about it, she was laughing about it. Like it's so silly. They're bringing in watermelons.
Everything is
racist. But then when Shannon Sharp started talking about it, at the end of it, the commentator was like almost crying because she was like, "I'm sorry, I didn't know it had a racist connotation to it."
No, this is retarded. Shannon Sharp, he loves that race-based shit. On him, he also was interviewing on his podcast channel that I actually enjoyed some of the conversations with the comedian.
I like it.
I forgot who the comedian was he was interviewing. He brought up.
It was what's his name? It was everybody says I look like him. It was JB Smooth. JB Smooth.
Yeah, JB. So JB Smooth.
I seen that interview.
JB Smooth. Remember the question? Yeah, JB Smooth. He's like, what do you think about people of like white people taking people of color's voices on like animated?
Yeah,
JB Smooth was like, I've done white voices. I've done monster voices.
See,
I've done alien voices.
See, that's what I'm saying.
And Shan was like, why are you always trying to find issues? Like, people are trying to find these racial inclinations. Oh, look what he did. Bro, stop overthinking shit. Like, we've become this super sensitive country where everything's overthought, everything's racist, everything's sexist. No, it's not. There's a couple asshole racists, a couple asshole sexists, but stop pretending like the whole.
It's not the majority. It's not. Yeah, it's not the mainstream. Close. It's not the majority.
It's not even a small percentage. Like it's literally a little fucking blimp, and we focus all on that shit. Stop it. It's ridiculous.
I agree. No, I agree. You know? I agree.
So I think that's a good way to wrap it up, man. And I'm actually start once you get this thing edited, I'm gonna open my old Facebook up again and make sure that this goes on there.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
No, go ahead. What'd you say?
Yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna just start it up and I'm gonna post it, man. And just want to tell everybody, hey, subscribe, like, comment. Even if you want to talk shit, talk your shit. It doesn't matter. We'll respond. You know.
Sounds good, bro. Sounds good. Yeah, folks, we're gonna be coming back at y'all. We still got the sports videos coming. We're gonna get the Crazy Ants starting 5 back together. We're gonna get those.
When is that? Going. When are we thinking about doing that?
We're either doing it this week or next. I know Amar and Austin have been doing theirs consistently for the last couple of weeks. We just got to make sure we have that 5th guy so we can do the debates. That's the only thing.
I am dying to jump into it ASAP because of the NBA draft and the NFL going on. Like, dude, I've been like itching to do a sport, like the sports thing. The politics has just discouraged me and made me so like kind of like I haven't watched news or anything for like a while. It just because it's so crazy. You don't know what you're looking at. I just hate the media in general and the news channels.
I know.
But sports, I always got a heart there for it. So I want to do one soon. So hopefully, yeah, you guys, we're gonna have the sports stuff on there. We already have. I think Austin then released a video. What was it?
Yesterday? Or day before
yesterday, and it was a really good one. So you guys go check that out. We don't just do politics. We do all kinds of stuff, and we just have fun with it, man. It's just all fun. So I hope you guys join us, man.
All right, y'all. I'm gonna let the outro take us out. Y'all take care.